Greetings viewers, this is Monster Maverick coming at you with another video. Today we are going to finally assemble the ZA Death Stinger, a high-end massive model land combat mecha. So yeah, this is a long time coming. Looking forward to putting this all together and of course sharing my thoughts with it, the good, the bad, and everything else in between. And of course, this is a kit worth getting. So with all that being said, let's get started. All things considered, this does look a pretty menacing spider. And here we have the long-awaited, fully assembled ZA Death Stinger. And I must admit, I am in awe of this. I mean, just the fact that the size, this is a 1/50th scale, whereas the normal 1/72 scale from the Kotobukiya kits. But the amount of detail that this kit has compared to the Death Stinger, but just compared to other Zoid kits I've built previously. There's so much detail in this, not just for like panel lining, but they added a lot more parts for this kit, a lot more pieces, and it really does show. There's definitely a lot more gold pieces. I mentioned this in the previous videos, so that definitely does stick out. Definitely a little bit more red translucent pieces as well. And I also gotta give credit to the silver pieces. I think they were just as silver as the other Kotobukiya kits, so I'm really happy with that. So there's nothing too different about that. One thing I do want to add is these caps that are on all the Zoid kits. These are, I would say, the same type of plastic used for the other kits here. Whereas on the Tomy or Kotobukiya kits, those were, I don't say it's just like normal like polycaps. They're not as rubbery, but they're more rubber than these pieces here. These are actually plastic pieces compared to the other pieces related to this kit. But with that, yes, this kit, and unfortunately my turntable is not big enough for this kit, so just need to manually turn this. Yeah, it's quite fortunate that I cannot use the turntable, but I try to use that for the Death Stinger. But they just said they kind of look a little bit wonky, so I decided not to use it for this video review. But yeah, that is just not big enough to give a full 360 view of this kit. So I'm just going to manually turn it around. And here's more of those gold pieces that I mentioned. The back claws and the back of the tail. And on the tail at the end of here, there, and behind its weapon on its back. The one thing I have noticed about this kit, unfortunately, are the front claws. As you can see, there's weight behind that, and in my previous video where I was comparing each of its individual parts, these claws are same size as the body, so I was kind of worried that they would be a little bit front heavy, and I'm not surprised. Yes, I am thankful that the legs are really holding it still, keeping its balance, but just due to gravity and just the weight of these claws, they will eventually sloop down. That also could be the joints might be a little bit weak, so that is a little bit of an unfortunate part. But there's are just a few factors to consider: the weight of these, loose joints. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, this kit is pretty solid, very detailed, and I'm very, very impressed with it. With all that being said, let's take a look at the articulation. And now that the kit is fully assembled, there is a lot of it. So I'm going to do from the front to the back, especially due to the size of this kit. So, the claws, there's a joint there, another joint there, so here and here. So they can rotate 360 degrees. Can bend there, can bend there. There's another one that is underneath, can go all the way, top to bottom, and can also move around. Basically all that joint, this joint, and this joint are basically all the same type of joint. They can move in all those directions. The claws can open, like so. The claws can also move down, and this piece can move up. And you can extend a hidden weapon there. So it can extend just a little bit, like so. So just push that back in. And move these down, then you can close the claw. These can open like so on both sides. And this blade can also extend like so. And one more thing, this piece can extend, so giving some more details underneath there. I'm going to try to move this the best I can. Do bear with me. So just some detail there. The head can move up and down, left to right, can rotate a little bit, but the arms would be in the way. This flap can move up. The mandibles can move independently, like so. And this visor can actually move up, so it gives you a much better look of his face. And this cockpit can open, and you can see the pilot inside. And just a standard pilot, nothing that sticks out. When the Death Stinger first came out, I believe there was an anime version that had the hilts of a figurine from Zoi's Chaotic Century or Zoi's Guardian Force. But that was in the Kotobukiya kit. Fortunately, a third party does not have that. At least not yet. So let's move here. These legs can fully extend. You can move here, move there. Can rotate all the way, like so. And can move down. I will say this joint, I think it's just on that one. Yeah. Can move up like that, move down. Some of these joints, not on all of them, but some of these are just a little bit tight, so maybe that could just be due to assembly when I was putting all this together. But just want to give you a heads up, just in case if anyone else were to experience that. This little piece can open, which shows another piston there, like so. And of course, each one of these legs at the tip can open like so. Gonna move this up. So the gun can move around, so can rotate all around. And actually have a few points of articulation, so that's kind of nice. In the back here, all these flaps can open and close. These flaps can open. In my last video, these came off, so I just used some of this Tamiya extra thin cement. I mean, they can still move, so that's not the issue. I just want to be sure these stay in place. So there's a connection point right there. So I just want to be sure that these stay put, especially if they're going to be put back in the box. So yep, these can move. There are flaps here as well. They can move, and they can show a little vent there. And last but not least, but this entire thing can open like so. And you can see the Zoid core and all the details here. This is one thing that really stands out to me, is that the Kotobukiya kit does not have this feature. The back piece does not open like this one does. So just the fact that this kit does that, I gotta give it props to them. This is really nice. A really great addition for this kit. Yes, definitely a lot more extra pieces, but look at all that detail. I really do like that. So put that back down. So yeah, like I said, this can all rotate in various ways. So very nice there. And if we flip this over, get the other side, all these can open. To show 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 with the vents there. And I really like these a lot better than the Kotobukiya kit, just because aside from the gold pieces that stand out, it just looks more detailed. Even though it's by a little bit, I really do like this. Alright, now forward back. This piece here can move side to side, and a slight rotation, not by much. The back claws can move in various directions. This can move all around. So there's a few points there. It can move around as well. It can rotate. This piece here can move side to side. can also rotate on the top. I just realized I did all that without you all seeing. Do apologize, but it's kind of hard to show everything, especially with the size of this kit. So to show again, this here can rotate all around. This can all rotate all around. And there are two joints here. And lastly, the claws can indeed open. And last but not least, the tail. The tail can move downward. On top, can indeed rotate all around. And can rotate here as well. These flaps can open to showcase more red translucent pieces. And back of the vents can also show some details here all around. And last but not least, these two can open up, and these can open as well, in preparation to fire its charged particle cannon. And these pieces here can extend even further, like so. Yes, that's all the articulation for this kit. Just like how I did with the Death Stinger and the Death Stinger ZS, the swimming transformation, if you will, is just like the other two. I will say this is a little bit hard because, this is kit a lot bigger. So take the legs, fully extend them, and you can rotate them like so. And these can fully extend so. The front claws can extend as much as it can, and hopefully will allow it, just because, like I said, the front claws are a little bit front heavy. So just like one side, do it with the other. Oh, I almost forgot to extend the blades. So extend these. And last but not least, you fully extend the tail. And you open all of its flaps like that. And I just made this kit a whole lot bigger. But yeah, something like that. But this is its, I guess, swimming mode, so to speak. And after some side-by-side comparisons, here is the Z8 Death Stinger right beside the high-end Master Model Gun Sniper. So, and this piece just fell off, but that's okay. Just to give you an idea of the big size difference, as you can see here, so pretty obvious. Here is right beside the Master Grade Exia Dark Matter. And so, yeah, I guess height-wise, I'll still give it to the Death Stinger because I think the tail is sticking out a little bit more. But if we would put this down in a different view, I mean, regardless, the Death Stinger is definitely so much bigger than the Dark Matter Exia here. Or mainly just bigger than many Master Grades for that matter. Here's the width beside Perfect Grade Strike Gundam. Let me just get... There we go. So yeah, height-wise, probably give it to the Strike, but if I can just... I think based on width, I gotta give it the Death Stinger. Like, all around, the Death Stinger is just so much bigger. So let me just put this back on my tripod here. There we go. And last but not least, here's it beside the High-End Master Model Death Stinger from Kotobukiya. So to give you a really good idea of not just the difference in size, but different in color as well, I feel like the pink and the purple here has a little shine to it. Maybe it has some like tint silver in the paint when how it is outside right out of the box. So I gotta give it to the colors on this one a bit more. But in terms of silver, I think they're pretty comparable. I would say they're roughly the same. The gold, though, I gotta give the gold to this one for sure. As for these caps here, this one, the ZA Death Stinger, the caps are a lot better. They actually, as I mentioned previously, they're the same type of plastic as the rest of the pieces for the kit, whereas these are a little bit more rubbery. For the darker gray pieces, I think these have a little bit more of a gloss to them, more of a shine, whereas these are just matte color. And definitely, as I mentioned before, definitely a lot more red translucent pieces on this kit than this one. But I think that's about it in terms of other comparisons I can see now that these two are side by side. But there's so many goods, good and bad between them. But still nice to really see just the size comparison between two versions of an iconic Zoid, the Death Stinger. As mentioned previously, there's a lot of articulation points within this kit, similar to that, of course, the other two Death Stinger kits. So not much of, I would say, change in terms of that. But I will say, as I mentioned in the previous videos regarding the both regular Kotobukiya High-End Master Model Death Stinger and the Death Stinger ZS, is that yes, there are many points of articulation you can adjust and of course pose this kit, but it is somewhat limited. Just because of how bulky this is, and some things are in place, and just some things might be out of the way. So just keep that in mind, because there could be some, I guess, standard or some basic poses that you have this kit in. But I can't deny the fact that you can actually put in a pretty iconic position. So nice little pose, and the fact that this has other features too, that you can open the head, which of course the other kit can do that too. but also can open the main body as well, open a few flaps here and there. So at least for this, for poses for this kit, you can over amplify them just a little bit, just because of these added details that this third party did for this kit. And now for the good, the bad, and anything else in between. Of course, it is a kit worth getting. So for starters, the good. The amount of detail for this kit is completely outstanding. I knew a little bit getting into it before I bought it, but honestly, I had no idea that the detail that I witnessed while putting this kit together was the amount that I experienced. It was just outrageous, to say the least. Not just like with extra parts or the few things here and there, but this coming from a third party, they blow it out of the park. I really need to give them credit for that. Because for the longest time, I always thought that the Tomy and the Kotobukiya line were, top notch with the amount of detail, and they've been doing Zoids for so many years. They were Takara Tomy was also the one that bought the customized, mobilized line, the ones that came in the early 2000s. Especially due to the fact that the Zoids TV shows, Color Century, New Century, of course, came here and were popular to the point that they want to create Bandai motorized kits for that. Bandai did some as well. So it's no, I'm sorry, no, it was Hasbro. They're trying to get a few facts straight. So I do apologize with that. It's Hasbro, not Bandai. Bandai's more Gundam. Made that mistake on the previous video too, so my apologies. But aside from the detail, the size, I gotta give credit to the size. This is a 150 scale, whereas the other Zoid kits that I built previously were 172 scale. So this kit is enormous. This is probably the biggest kit I've ever built thus far. I think I mentioned this already, but I'll say it again. Yeah, this is probably the biggest kit I've built so far. Definitely the biggest Zoid kit I've built so far. That 100%. Unless, of course, one day I may get a Gojirless, so we see about that, or the Ogre, the Gojirless Ogre. But that price for those kits are really, really high. But we shall see. We shall see one day. Speaking of prices, though, that's another thing about this kit is the price. You would think that this would be a little bit more than the regular Death Stinger, the high-end master model. No, this is, from what I remember, it was just a little bit less. Not by much, though, but the fact that this kit is bigger, has a lot more details, a lot more parts, a lot more plastic pieces, a lot more runners, and yet this kit was a little bit cheaper than the Kotobukiya ones. So that is something to really think about. This is next part is I would say a double-edged sword. Is the articulation, because I did mention previously that yes, there's many points of articulation. The legs, they all have the same amount of articulation. The claws, the front and back ones are pretty good. And of course, you have a few vents added. Details and accessories, gimmicks that this kit can do compared to the Kotobukiya one. But with all that being said, though, just because a few pieces are in the way, it's kind of hard to pose this in certain positions. But with the added features that this kit has, especially with some of these panels open up, so I'll give it that. So it's good in one way, bad in another way. Speaking of bad, and there's a couple, not too many. Because this is a third party, the plastic here, for the most part, has been good. I'll say that. For the most part, has been good. However, though, there was on 2 occasions that the couple pieces actually did break off. It wasn't due to me cutting out the runners. It's just it happened. but luckily I was able to use some of this Tamiya extra thin cement. I really do like this one. This is not really this is not an adhesive. It's almost like a bonding agent. So it basically kind of like mends the two pieces together so that way it's a much stronger bond. And also doesn't really have any like residue showing. Whereas I used to use a regular super glue, and that was a bad idea because it did show some residue. So I highly recommend to use the Tamiya Extra thin cement, and I highly recommend that. Let's see. Yeah, aside from the broken pieces, some pieces did fall off, and from my parts video, the two pieces here, right there on the side of the back piece, came off. Both sides actually did came off. So that was another thing. I had to use that extra thin cement. It didn't really like ruin like in terms of posing or opening the flaps, nothing like that. So it was all good. No issues about that whatsoever. Another bad thing, unfortunately, are the claws. These two front claws, and I mentioned this before, they are really dense. They're the same size as the body. And now looking at the Kotobukiya kits for that comparison part of this video, I did see those claws were roughly the same size as the body, so no big difference there. But the big difference between this kit and the other kit is that this kit is a whole lot bigger, so the front claws are definitely a little bit more heavier. So they tend to droop a little bit in time, so just watch out for that. Fortunately, the claws are definitely front heavy. I am thankful though that the legs are still as strong as the Kotobukiya legs. So the balance on this kit is very great. So I do want to add that for the good part. Another bad part is that some of these pieces tend to open up, especially here in the front claws. If I were to open this blade up and to show that briefly, so these kind of open up. So basically I just pushed too much, so they kind of open up. But I was hoping that they'd be strong enough that you wouldn't accidentally open up. So the bonding between these two pieces, unfortunately, are not that strong. And I did notice on a couple of areas here too. But it's not the end of the world. They're not terrible. But these two are definitely the most of it, unfortunately. So these two pieces don't really click or bond too well with each other. Why? I can't say. But with all that being said, that's the good, the bad, and everything else in between in terms of what this kit can provide. In case you have any questions about anything else that I have not brought up, be sure to comment down below. But with all that being said, is this a kit worth getting? I would say yes, absolutely yes. The time it took to build this kit, the extra runners, extra detail, this is this is a third party, and I think they did a very good job. Not everything's perfect, and that's completely okay. But the amount of detail, especially for that back, you can see the Zori core, and you see all the other extra pieces around it. There's more gold pieces here, and it's more red translucent pieces. It's just so much added pieces that made this kit basically made the Death Stinger stand out so much more than the Kotobukiya one did. I need to admit that. So I highly do recommend picking this kit up if you can. I will say it could be hard. This kit came out, I would say several years ago, so it might be hard to find it. But hey, if you can, pick it up, and I hope you all enjoy the build. And just want to show all three Death Stingers side by side to really give you a good indication of the differences and comparisons of all three. Whether it be size, color, detail, they're all good in their own way. I definitely approve. Thank you all for watching. This has been a lot busier than I ever expected to be, especially for this big guy in the middle. I am thankful that I was able to build the high-end master model, Death Stinger, some time ago, and I was able to review that, and along with, of course, reviewing the Death Stinger ZS over here. That was a fun build. And I mentioned this before, now I'll say it again. Those legs, not a big fan. I'm sorry, just tend to get a little bit overwhelmed, especially with building the same piece over and over again. And like I said, I just got a little bit just overwhelmed and exhausted from building that so many times. The last time I felt this way was when I was doing the Liger Zero CAS Changing Armor Systems kits, the Jaeger, Schneider, Panzer, and of course the Liger Zero X. So I need a little bit of a break from after that one, and I don't say I would need a break for this one because I'm just thankful that the big guy in the middle is done, and I can move on to other kits that are in my backlog, which of course there's a good number. So don't worry, there'll be more kits, more video reviews coming up. But with that being said, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more video updates. My social links are down below. There are two videos here. One to the most recent one, which is the full detail of all the individual parts for the ZA Death Stinger, and one here that YouTube picked out for you. So, and of course, be sure to comment down below, and if you have any questions, I'll be sure to reply to them the best I can. And with all being said, thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on building.